JMath.
This is the practice video for cubic functions and specifically how to find the equation of a cubic function. So here's 6 questions on screen. You can pause here and do these questions. If it's a bit too fuzzy, just go to the question, pause before the answer starts, and then attempt it yourself. Then we can mark it together and you can see if you really understood the question. Question 1, determine the equation of the following cubic functions. So if I look at the first picture, I don't have a turning point and I have all the x-intercepts. So I know I'm going to start with y is equal to a, and then I'm going to do the 3 brackets. Now I can see there is a x-intercept, so I'm just going to say x minus 0, and then this is a turning point and an x-intercept, so x plus 4 and x plus 4. Remember, always the opposite sign. Now I can sub in this in the place of x and y. So I can say 4 equals a, minus 2 minus 0, minus 2 plus 4, and then minus 2 plus 4. So that tells me 4 is equal to a, and this is a minus 2. This is just a 2 and just a 2 again. So that tells me this is 4 and minus 8a. Therefore, a is equal to 4 over negative 8, which is minus a half. So now I just need to sub that into the first line and FOIL the bracket. So y is equal to minus a half. X minus 0, I can just say this is x. And then I can FOIL the last two, so x squared plus 8x plus 16. And therefore my final answer would be minus a half x cubed. Then 8 times minus a half gives me minus 4x squared. And then 16 times negative a half gives me minus 8x. That is my final answer. So I would say this question is 4 marks, so subbing into the correct formula. Then for subbing in the other point, for getting the correct a value, and then lastly, for ending with the correct formula. Question 2, once again, I don't know anything about turning points. Well, I can see one of the turning points is 0 and 0, but I don't have a function to sub it into. So I'm rather going to go with all the x-intercepts. So I can say y is equal to a, and then x minus 0, and x minus 5. I can now sub in the extra point that I have. So minus 4 is equal to a, which is just 1 minus 0, 1 minus 0, and then 1 minus 5. So this tells me this is minus 4, and then 1 times negative 4 gives me negative 4a, and therefore a is equal to 1. So my formula would then just be 1x times x minus 5. So therefore the answer is just going to be x cubed minus 5x squared. Once again, 4 marks at least. Correct formula, correct a value, correct answer, and then probably for the simplification in that step as well. Question 3, determine the equation of the following cubic function. If fx has a local maximum at x equals 4, determine the value of p and c. Okay, so they are giving me a coordinate for the turning point, and in this specific case, once again, I have enough info to do the turning point formula or the x-intercept formula. I'm going to go with the x-intercept formula because it's going to give me the answer the quickest. The other one I'll have to do get equation 1, get equation 2, and then work it out. So let's start with the x-intercept formula. So y is equal to, remember, look for the a value, and they actually give me the a value. So I can already put in the minus 1 there, and then I can just say this is x minus 0, x minus 4, and x minus 4. And therefore, I don't have another point, so I don't need to sub in another point. I can just FOIL this out, and then I'm going to get the answer immediately. So just going to say this is minus 1x, and then x squared minus 8x plus 16. If I distribute in the minus x, this is just going to be minus x cubed plus 8x squared, and then minus 16x. That is my final answer. So I can then say p was equal to 8, and c was equal to minus 16. If this question counted 4 marks, you'll get a mark for subbing in the right formula, for getting the right simplification, and then for writing what is P and what is C. So 4 marks for that question. Question 4, they give me a formula and they say f has a local minimum when at f, which is 2 and minus 9, determine the values of P and Q. This time, the x-intercept formula won't save me because I don't know any of the 3 x-intercepts. But I know the local minimum or the stationary point. So I'm going to have to do simultaneous equations. My first one is going to be to sub in the coordinates of f into x and y. So I'm going to start with minus 9 is equal to 2 cubed plus p 2 squared plus q times 2 and then plus 3. So I now need to get p or q alone. I normally go for the one that's furthest to the right because most of the time I'm going to be able to get that alone without making everything fractions. But let's see if it's the case in this sum. So if I take everything over and get q alone, my equation 1 would say q is equal to minus 14 minus 2b. Now I've used the original formula. Now I need to go for the derivative because the value they gave me is a stationary point. I can make the derivative equal to 0 if I make all the x's a 2. So let's start with getting the derivative. So the derivative of f would be equal to 6x squared plus 2px plus q. Like I say, if I make this a 0, I can make all the x's a 2. 6 times 2 squared plus 2p times 2 plus q. I want to get q alone again. So 6 times 2 gives me 6 times 4, which is 24. So minus 24 minus 4p. And that would be equation 2. So now to solve this, I need to make equation 1 equal to equation 2. And that would be minus 14 minus 2p is equal to minus 24 minus 4p. Take the p's to the left. So 4 minus 2 gives me 2p. And then minus 24 minus minus 14 gives me minus 10. And therefore p is equal to minus 5. I can just sub that into equation 1 or 2, and that would give me my q value. So let's just sub it into equation 1. So minus 14 minus 2 times minus 5 gives me minus 14 plus 10, and that would just be q is equal to minus 4. That's it. They asked me for p and q, so I will get full marks for those steps. Let's just check where you would get your marks. I would say this is 5 marks. I'll get a mark for subbing into the original, getting equation 1, then for subbing into the derivative, getting equation 2, and then for getting the 2 answers. So actually 6 marks for this question. So this is a question that you'll easily see in an exam. Lots of marks, and if you didn't study, you won't remember how to do this. So please don't let them catch you out. You now know how to do this, and you can get full marks. Question 5. The graph of fx has a local turning point at 2 and minus 32. Find the values of b and c. So it's also a type 3 sum. I need to get equation 1 and equation 2. I am going to start with just subbing the point that they gave me into x and y. So minus 32 is equal to minus, and then 2 cubed plus b 2 squared plus c times 2. So if I simplify that a little bit, that would just give me minus 8 plus 4b plus 2c. I want c alone, so I'm going to move everything over and then divide by 2. So minus 32 minus minus 8 gives me minus 24, divided by 2 gives me minus 12, minus 2b. That is equation 1. Now, because this is a local turning point, I can get the derivative and make that equal to 0. So let's do that so long. So derivative of f is equal to minus 3x squared plus 2bx plus c. And I can sub in 2 into x if I make it equal to 0. So minus 3 times 2 squared plus 2b times 2 plus c. I want c alone. So that is going to be minus 3 times 4 gives me minus 12. I bring it over. It's positive 12 minus 4b, and that would be equation 2. Now I can make them equal to each other, and that's how I would solve for b. So minus 12 minus 2b is equal to 12 minus 4b. Take the b's to the left, so 2b is equal to 24. b is equal to 12. Just going to tell them I'm going to sub b equals 12 into equation 1, and that would tell me c is then equal to minus 12 minus 2 times 12, which would give me minus 36 as c. So let's just see how many marks that would be. So definitely for subbing into the first formula and simplifying, then for getting the derivative, and then subbing in and simplifying, for getting b, and then for getting c. So 6 marks again. The final question, question 6. The line y plus 6x equals 2 is a tangent to the curve of fx at the point minus 1 and 4. Find the value of k and m. Okay, so in this case, I have a x and a y, so I can definitely sub that into the original. And why are they giving me the tangent? Because they are telling me what the gradient is equal to, and remember, the gradient is the derivative. So I can just write this into standard form, so y equals minus 6x plus 2, and that tells me that the gradient is equal to minus 6 when x is equal to minus 1. So I can use that to get my equation 2 later on. But let's start with equation 1. So firstly, I'm going to sub in 4 equals, and x is minus 1 in this case. So k minus 1 cubed minus m minus 1 squared. I can now just simplify that, and I want m to be alone. So 4 equals minus k minus m, because minus 1 cubed is still minus 1, but minus 1 squared is a positive, but m had a minus already. So that is why it's simplified to that. I want m alone, so I'm just going to move that to the left, and this would be minus k minus 4. There's my equation 1. Now I can set up equation 2, and that has to do with the derivative. So I'm just going to do it on this side. The derivative of this function would be equal to 3kx squared minus 2mx. Now I'm going to use this info that I just got up there to say I can make this equal to minus 6 if I make x minus 1. I want m alone, so I can then just say m is equal to minus 6 minus 3k all over 2, and that would be my equation 2. So now to solve, I can just make them equal to each other and then see what is m and what is k. So I have minus k minus 4 is equal to minus 6 minus 3k all over 2. I am going to multiply the 2 over to the left, so minus 2k minus 8 is equal to minus 6 minus 3k. Now I need to decide which sides do I want the k. I'm going to move everything to the left, so then I have 3k minus 2k gives me 1k, and on the right I have minus 6 plus 8, which would just be 2. To find m, I can just sub in the k value into equation 1, so therefore it's minus 2 minus 4, so m is equal to minus 6. Great, guys. I hope this went okay. Let's just mark. I think this would be 6 marks again. So for getting the gradient, then for getting equation 1 by subbing into the formula and simplifying correctly, getting your derivative and getting equation 2, and then for solving. So this question was actually 7 marks in the end. How did you guys do with this one? Did you get all 7 or did you get stuck somewhere? So how did it go with these questions? Could you get these formulas and did it make sense? If it didn't, please go back to the theory videos and watch them again to make sure you iron out all the weak spots before you head into an exam. Now we're going to go over to graph interpretation videos.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JMath.